What if I told you the real secret to aging well wasn't some crazy new tech, but a single, incredibly powerful protein that's already working inside your body right now? Well, today we are diving into the one molecule that pretty much has the biggest say in how you age. So let me ask you something. Do you know your biological age? I'm not talking about the number of candles on your cake. That's just your chronological age. I mean your biological age. You know, a measure of how well your cells are actually doing their job. And, as it turns out, that's the number that really, truly matters.
And right at the heart of all of this is what's been called a master protein that decides whether your cells grow or repair themselves. Think about that for a second. This one protein has a huge impact on how fast you age. So what is it?
Well, this protein is so important, it basically acts like a high-powered executive for your cells. In fact, a lot of scientists have given it a nickname that just fits perfectly: the CEO of aging. Okay, so its full scientific name is mTOR, which stands for mechanistic Target of Rapamycin. But honestly, the CEO of aging analogy is so much better. Because just like a CEO directs a company's resources, mTOR is in there directing your cells, telling them whether to focus on building and growing or on cleaning up and repairing. It is a massive job. So how does this cellular CEO actually give its orders? It's not sending out memos or emails. Nope. It just flips a single, incredibly powerful switch inside your cells. And that switch only has two settings: growth or repair. So let's look at those two settings. On one side, you've got growth and replication mode. This is when mTOR is switched on. Your cells are multiplying, you're building tissue. This is totally essential for things like building muscle after a workout. But, and this is the big but, if that switch is stuck in the on position too much, it can actually speed up aging. Then, on the other side, you have repair and regeneration mode. This is when mTOR is switched off. Your cells go into this amazing cleanup phase, recycling damaged parts and getting rid of junk. This is the mode that really supports your long-term health and vitality. So the goal here isn't about good versus bad. You absolutely need both modes to function. The real key is balance. What you want is to give your body plenty of time in that repair mode so it can maintain itself. That's what ultimately slows down the aging process and, keeps you feeling fantastic. All right, so how do we actually influence our own cellular CEO? How can we nudge it to spend a little more time in that all-important repair mode? Well, it turns out our daily lifestyle choices are basically the memos that land on its desk every single day. And here are 5 of the most effective ways to do just that. We can influence it by what we eat. You see, more plants, healthy fats, less sugar, but also by when we eat, like with fasting, and even how we handle stress. It's all connected. Let's dig into 2 of the biggest dietary factors right now. Okay, this first one is really fascinating, and it's all about protein. See, animal proteins are loaded with an amino acid called leucine, and leucine is a very powerful activator of mTOR. It pretty much forces that switch into growth mode. Now again, that's great if you're trying to build muscle, but you don't want it on 24/7. So the takeaway isn't to just stop eating animal protein. It's to find a balance by bringing in more plant-based proteins. That way, you give mTOR a much-needed break. And it's not just about protein. The other major lever you can pull with your diet is sugar. When you eat sugary foods or those refined carbs, your body releases insulin. And guess what insulin does? Yep, it also flips that mTOR switch straight to on. It's just another signal telling the body to grow, instead of taking a time out to repair. Now, beyond our main diet and lifestyle choices, there are also some specific compounds found in nature that can act as a kind of, a support system for our cellular CEO. You can think of it like having a longevity toolkit. Here are some of nature's all-stars. You really don't need to memorize the whole list, but just notice the pattern. We've got things like resveratrol from grapes, curcumin from turmeric. A lot of these are powerful antioxidants. They don't just block mTOR, they help protect the body from the very stresses that would otherwise keep that growth switch stuck in the on position. They gently guide it back towards a healthier state of balance. Okay, so let's bring all this home. While the science can seem a little complicated, the main takeaway is actually incredibly simple and honestly pretty empowering. Your long-term vitality really does come down to your daily choices. And that really is the bottom line here. The balance of this master protein, it isn't set by one big decision you make. It's the sum of dozens of tiny choices you make every single day. The food you put on your plate, when you eat your meals, how you respond to stress, all these little habits, they compound over time, and they profoundly shape how you feel.
And that's the ultimate goal, right? The whole point of managing mTOR isn't just about adding more years to your life, but about adding more life to your years. It's about living healthier and stronger for as long as you possibly can.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you know you have the power to help flip that switch inside your own cells, from growth over to repair, which one repair mode choice are you going to make today?